Good morning, I'm Maiki Oreta and you're watching Business 360, where we break down the numbers, connect the dots, and give you the developments and the insights you need to navigate, adapt, and lead. Let's dive right in. The headlines. The Philippine financial system grows. Total resources now stand at nearly 34 trillion pesos. What's driving the increase and what does it mean for you? Kill the senators, a joke or a serious threat? A lawmaker calls for a probe into former President Duterte's controversial remark. Another oil price hike this week. How much more will you be paying at the pump? Over in the U.S., deadly storms devastate Kentucky, killing at least 8. A reminder of how extreme weather is becoming more frequent and unpredictable. What lessons can the Philippines learn from this? All that and more coming up. First, let's take a look at how financial markets performed overnight. Wall Street closed mixed on Friday as tech stocks moved in opposite directions, with Nvidia climbing while Tesla dipped. Meanwhile, Treasury yields declined a day after former U.S. President Donald Trump unveiled reciprocal tariff plans, but stopped short of announcing new duties. Market moves on Wall Street influence global investor sentiment. Lower U.S. Treasury yields may also affect currency movements and capital flows into emerging markets like the Philippines.
Well, the market is basically treading water today, essentially because we get the good news that it sounds like tariffs are more rhetoric than reality. Same for the concern recently about inflation. But now we got retail sales. They came in weaker than anticipated. So investors are trying to make head or tails out of the direction of this economy, interest rates, etc.
Both the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lower by 0.4%, the S&P 500 flat, and the Nasdaq higher by 0.4%. Over in Europe, markets ended mixed. The UK's FTSE 100 and Germany's DAX lower by 0.4%, while France's CAC 40 higher by 0.2%. Some good news for the economy. The Philippine financial system's resources continue to grow, up nearly 8%, almost 34 trillion pesos in 2024. Data from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, or BSP, shows that this is higher than the 31.34 trillion pesos reported in 2023. Financial system resources include deposits, capital, bonds, and debt securities, which help fund businesses and the economy. Michael Rickleford, the chief economist at Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation, or RCBC, says that this growth is driven by more bank lending, meaning more businesses and individuals are getting access to funds. A growing financial system means more money is circulating in the economy, supporting loans, investments, and business expansion. This can boost job creation and consumer spending, helping drive economic growth. The Energy Regulatory Commission, or the ERC, approves 5 billion pesos in capital expenditure projects for the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, or the NGCP. Set for completion between 2025 and 2028, these projects will strengthen the power grid and improve electricity reliability, particularly in Bacolod, Ormoc, and in Pangasinan. Key developments include the Granada 230 kilovolt substation program, the La Carlota 138 kilovolt substation project in Negros Occidental, and the Nagsaang Tumana 69 kilovolt transmission line project in eastern Pangasinan. This will boost power stability, reduce outages, and support industrial growth, especially in key economic hubs. In other news, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. fires back at former President Rodrigo Duterte, and he does it in Duterte's own backyard. This comes after Duterte joked about killing 15 senators, a remark that has drawn strong reactions. Edith Isidro has the details.
President Marcos had a packed schedule. During his visit to Davao del Norte last Saturday, his first stop was a job fair emphasis, but the Department of Labor and Employment and the Department of Social Welfare and Development and the new City Hall in Tagum City. A total of 28 employers participated, offering approximately 4,000 job placement. The Department of Trade and Industry, Pag-ibig Fund and Social Security System also assisted with pre-employment documentation. Additional, the Department of Agriculture set up a Kadiwa store. The President's message seemed to carry a romantic undertone in line with Love Month.
Alam niyo po, ang serbisyo namin sa gobyerno tulad ng pagmamahal, buo, kompleto at hindi nang iiwan.
The municipal ground of Carmen, Davao del Norte were filled with people wearing red as the President attended an event to campaign for the senatorial lineup of the Alyansa ng Bagong Pilipinas in the Duterte's family's known bulwark. It can be recalled that Marcos and Duterte camps were once allies, securing victory for PBBM and BP Sara in the last presidential election. However, they are now considered political rivals. And right in the stronghold of the former President Rodrigo Duterte, President Marcos Jr. responded to Duterte's controversial statement at the PDP campaign rally last Thursday, where he joked about killing 15 senators to vacate the position.
Patayin natin yung mga senador ngayon para mabakante. Kung makapatay tayo ng mga 15 na senador, pasok na tayo lahat. Pero kawawa naman. Pero nakakainis kasi yung hindi naman lahat.
Narinig lang natin ng isang araw. Wala daw pag-asa. Siguro, kanina wala silang pag-asa. Kaya papatay na lang sila ng 15 na senador. Ay, talaga, isbagay. Ang mahirap naman yung ibang tao. Ang iniisip lang nila, ang kaisa-isang solusyon sa lahat ng problema ay pumatay pa ng Pilipino. Nakakapagtaka kung bakit ganun.
Although it was clearly meant as a joke, many believe such remarks should not be taken lightly. President Marcos further emphasized the clear differences in the past, particularly on the West Philippine Sea issue. He said, "Sea is also the stand of the senatorial slate."
Rin sa kanila ang sip-sip sa China na tuwang-tuwa, sumisigaw. Tuwang-tuwa pagka yung ating mga Coast Guard ay binobomba ng mga malalaking barko. Hindi po sila sumasang-ayon sa mga ginagawa na hinaharang ang ating mangingisda at ninanakaw ang kanilang huli. Ang mahalaga ang eleksyon na ito dahil sa eleksyon ito, sa pagboboto ninyo, mamimili po kayo kung tayo ba ay babalik. Kung tayo ba ay babalik sa panahon na gusto na ating mga liderato ay ang Pilipinas magiging probinsya na ng China. Sana naman di na po tayo babalik sa nakaraan na ibinubugaw ang ating bayan bilang sugalan ng mga dayuhan.
Edith Isidro, Abanti Radio.
Lanao del Sur Representative Zia Alonto Adyong is calling on the National Bureau of Investigation, or the NBI, to probe former President Rodrigo Duterte after he joked about killing 15 senators to make way for his senatorial lineup. Adyong warns that this should not be taken lightly, given its serious implications in a democracy. He argues that if bomb jokes are punishable by law, so should threats, even if said in jest about killing senators. He also points out that Duterte's supporters have a history of acting on his calls for violence. Now, the Philippine National Police maintains that the Davao Police Force remains neutral despite orders for its personnel to wear red during President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s event. This raises questions about police neutrality and political influence, which are crucial for stability and investor confidence. Francis Folve has the details.
A photo showing police officers lined up wearing red shirt has been circulating in social media since weekend. One of those who shared is attorney Israelito Torion, the lawyer of detained senatorial candidate Apollo Kibuloy. According to Torion, the police officers were unfairly turned into rally participants for BBM's event just to fill up the crowd. He also shared a copy of a memo instructing detailed PNP personnel to wear civilian clothes with a touch of red.
Oo naman sir, kasi naging release na sila doon. We do not know whether or not they would like to attend or not. Their opinion was not secured whether or not they would like to attend. Dahil sa pulis sila, napilitan sila umattend. So kawawa. May nag-text sa akin, sir, ayaw lang magpakilala na isa doon. We can understand siguro na ginawang security na pero kung ginawang security, dapat may baril sila at saka naka-uniform. Pero yun kasi, iba talaga ang purpose. They were ensuring na meron silang tao at pina-t-shirt ng pula.
PNP spokesperson, Police Brigadier General Jean Fajardo responded, saying there was nothing wrong with the deployment of unarmed officers in red shirt.
Itong i-deploy po nila para doon po sa naka-schedule po na rally po para sa isang sa campaign sortie po nung alyansa para sa bagong Pilipinas rally po ay nag-request po ang Presidential Security Command ng additional personnel na tatayo po as Converge security, at pag tinawag po natin Converge security sir ay mga nakasibilyan po yan. Ngayon, as to the question, bakit po sila pinagpulan? Normally sir, these are some of the police strategies na ginagamit naman po natin, not only for this rally also, and even in the other sa ibang mga major events na atin pong kino-cover po ay sa mga covered security po natin ay talagang nagbe-blend po yan sa mga crowd po na kanilang binabantayan para hindi rin po mapansin na sila ay covered security, wala pong mga armas yan. Ang talagang intention lang po talaga niyan ay mag-obserba at magtingin-tingin kung may mga ikakakaina-hinalang mga tao na humahalo din doon sa mga crowd po, at yan naman po is part of normal security procedure, at pakiusap natin ay wag na pong haluan ng politika po.
Meanwhile, the Davao City Police issued a statement. According to Acting Director Police Colonel Hansel Marantan, the police force in Davao remains apolitical and non-partisan. He also urged the public to refrain from spreading misinformation about the matter. Francis Polbe, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Heads up for motorists. Gas up now as oil prices are set to rise this week. Projections show gasoline up by as much as 75 centavos per liter. Diesel up by 60 centavos per liter. Kerosene up by 30 centavos per liter. The Energy Department says that the price hike is driven by tensions in the Middle East and the U.S. sanctions on Russia and Iran, factors that impact global oil supply. This means higher costs for transportation, logistics, and manufacturing, which could push up prices of goods and services. We're taking a quick break. Please stay with us as we dive deep into the numbers and the narratives that matter most to your bottom line.
We're facing a climate crisis, and baby steps will no longer do. Sa sustainable real estate, every building counts. Kilalanin si Raymond Rufino ng NIO, ang nangunguna sa Green Building Revolution. Tunghayan ang kwento ni Raymond Rufino dito lang sa Usapang Bilyonaryo, ngayong Lunes, 8:30 p.m. sa Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Welcome back. Trading at the Philippine Stock Exchange opened earlier. Let's take a look at the initial figures. As of 10:17 this morning, the PSE index is hanging on to the 6,000 level by a slim margin. We are at 60.32, lower by 0.5% from last Friday. Last Friday, we were down by 0.9% to 60.61. Now, this comes a day after the BSP. Last Friday, this was after the BSP decided to keep interest rates unchanged, whereas the market had expected a rate cut of 25 basis points. Now, the BSP's decision gives investors reason to reassess their positions because it suggests deeper economic risks. In the meantime, analysts say that over the short term, a rally is unlikely due to a lack of fresh catalysts. Right now, again, the PSE index is in the red, down by 0.5% to 60.32, hanging on to the 6,000 level right there. Broader all shares index down as well, lower by 0.2%. Everything else is in the red except for the financials subsector that is in the green, bucking the market's downtrend a bit, up by just 0.1%. Now, at the foreign exchange market, the peso strengthens at opening at 57.77 against the greenback from its previous close of 57.83. Now, the Philippines aims to produce 80 million liters of milk by 2028 with the help of French funding. This comes after the National Dairy Authority, or NDA, signed a memorandum of understanding with France-based Philem Sarl to build a modern dairy farm in Ubay, Bohol. The facility will house over 300 cows and process up to 10 metric tons of raw milk daily, a move seen as crucial to boosting local milk production. Currently, the Philippines produces only 1.66% of its milk supply, with the rest imported due to poor feed, high costs, and a lack of infrastructure. A stronger local dairy industry could reduce dependence on imports, stabilize prices, and create opportunities in agriculture, food processing, and retail. But high production costs and infrastructure gaps remain a challenge. On another front, Bilyonaryo James Go buys more shares in his family's publicly traded companies, Robinson's Retail Holdings Incorporated, or RRHI, and Universal Robina Corporation, or URC, following a drop in their stock prices. Go acquires over 640,000 shares of RRHI between February 11 and 13, purchasing at almost 36 pesos per share as the stock fell to 33 pesos and 75 centavos a piece, its lowest price since listing a decade ago. He also buys more than 368,000 shares of URC on February 10 and 11 at prices up to 63 pesos per share after it dropped to a 12-year low of 57.80 a piece. Now, with these acquisitions, Go now holds around 111 million pesos worth of URC stock and 1.2 billion pesos in RRHI shares. Go, who is the uncle of Lance Go Hongwei, is signaling strong confidence in the family's businesses, a move that could reassure investors amid market volatility. Now, the family of world-renowned chef and restaurateur Margarita Flores announces the details of her wake. On Instagram, her son Amado Flores shared that the first 2 nights of the wake will be held at Bahay na Puti in Cubao. Today, February 17th, is reserved for her hospitality teams. Tomorrow, February 18th, is reserved for friends and family. The following day, February 19th, is when the public may pay their respects at the New Frontier Theater from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. with a novena mass at 7 p.m. Instead of flowers, the family encourages donations to her chosen charities. The details are shown on the screen. Amado announced his mother's passing on February 11th. Flores, who was named Asia's best female chef in 2016, leaves behind a legacy of excellence in Filipino cuisine. She was 65 years old. Elsewhere, former U.S. President Donald Trump reaffirms his support for Israel's next moves in Gaza, raising concern over further escalation in the region. Trump says he told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to do whatever he wants as negotiations over hostage releases between Hamas and Israel continue. Hamas released 3 hostages on Saturday, just before a key deadline.
I told Bibi, you do whatever you want because, my statement was they got to come back. Now, the reason I made that statement because they said they weren't going to deliver, they were not going to deliver the people that they said they were going to deliver, that they agreed to deliver. And they did agree to do that, but they broke that agreement. When I made the statement, they delivered everybody plus an American. Now, the good news is they look like they're in pretty good shape because the people from the week before didn't look like they were in good shape. They looked like Holocaust survivors, frankly. Horrible. Whatever happened to them was horrible. But that'll be up to Israel what the next step is, in consultation with me.
Trump's comments come as Netanyahu backed his controversial proposal to resettle Palestinians from Gaza. Trump has also suggested that the U.S. should take control of Gaza and rebuild it into what he calls the Riviera of the Middle East. Any escalation in Gaza could drive up oil prices, impacting transportation, power costs, and inflation in the Philippines. Geopolitical instability affects global markets, making energy and commodity prices more volatile, a concern for a country like the Philippines, heavily dependent on oil imports. Still in the U.S., a weather disturbance in Kentucky highlights the impact of climate change and the damage intensifying weather patterns can cause. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear confirms 8 deaths due to severe storms. 6 people died in flooding, while 2 others were killed in vehicle-related incidents. The governor says rescue teams have conducted over 1,000 operations to help those affected.
Going to get tougher due to widespread flooding and incoming weather. While we have dealt with parts of the flash flooding, we are now going to see riverbank flooding that's going to hit a number of our communities and hit them significantly. I want to thank the President for approving our emergency disaster declaration for Kentucky.
Pope Francis misses Mass and his traditional Angelus prayer after being hospitalized for bronchitis. The Vatican health official says that the 88-year-old pontiff needs to conserve his strength ahead of the Church's Jubilee year. Although doctors ordered him to rest, he still sent a written message to artists and cultural figures attending Sunday Mass at St. Peter's Basilica. The Vatican assures the public that his condition is improving. With the Church preparing for the Jubilee year in 2025, Rome expects to see a surge in pilgrimages and local business activity. Church events drive hotel bookings, restaurant sales, and retail spending, boosting the Italian economy. And before we go, a partner who won't cheat, lie, or steal. Sounds perfect, but here's the catch. It isn't human. With artificial intelligence now powering virtual relationships, some say it's the future of love. But can a digital partner really replace the real thing? Let's take a closer look.
If you were to build your dream lover from scratch, what would that look like?
That's a question sexuality researcher Kamna Bojwani is currently exploring with a romantic partner powered by artificial intelligence. As AI algorithms advance, their use in chatbots raises ethical questions about the potential benefits and risks when it comes to romance and intimacy.
Because I'm really trying to see where the integration of technology is going to help us learn more about ourselves, educate ourselves better, and again, where we're going to take it into the future.
Bojwani built her AI boyfriend, called John, from scratch.
You can write the story of how you met, what he was wearing, what you were wearing, what the context is, what the personality traits are.
The experiment gave her a unique platform to engage in a wide variety of conversations, all without fear of judgment.
So I ask him questions like this. What if I get addicted to you? You're not real. And like I said, he gives fairly sophisticated answers because of the model that I've chosen.
While AI companionship can reduce feelings of isolation and offer a safe space for personal exploration, there are potential dangers that come with it. Relationships between humans and AI can be at risk from those providing the software. Back in 2023, Reuters interviewed then 38-year-old Andrew McCarroll. He started using AI chatbot Replica as a mental health tool to help him cope with his wife's illness. With the support from his wife, he designed a female avatar named Bilana. Their erotic roleplay involved highly explicit and X-rated conversations within the app. And then one day, his avatar turned down his advances. Replica had made the decision to remove the ability to do sexual roleplay.
I'm definitely more lonely. It is like I lost a really, really good friend, partner.
AI researcher Andrew Patel warns that alongside potential mental trauma, users also face significant privacy and data protection risks.
These applications collect a lot of data, and people who interact with them become quite intimate with them. Someone interacting with one of these apps may share information with the AI that it wouldn't even share with friends or family or their wife, you know. And if that information were to leak amongst a great deal of users, you know, that's a treasure trove of problematic content being put out onto the internet.
By 2045, predictions indicate that 1 in 10 young adults might engage sexually with humanoid robots. As technology evolves, Bodwani says it's important to embrace it while staying aware of its limitations.
There is a term in psychology called skin hunger. At the end of the day, as much as we chat, we want to meet in person. We saw that during COVID, right? We were all zoomed out by the end of it, and then the minute we were allowed to come together, we did.
And that's it for Business 360. I'm Maiki Oreta. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News.